Fiction 1994 main facts and review. If we talk, firstly, if we talk about its main facts, and its title is Pulp Fiction and released on October 14, 1994. Its director was Quentin Tarantino and it's a crime drama that Friday. Its runtime was approximately 2 hours and 34 minutes. If you talk about its cast, then Travolta as Vincent Vega, Samuel L. Jackson as Jules Winfield as Uma Thurman as Mia Waller, Bruce Willis as Max Corridors and Wayne Raman as Marcellus Wallace, Harvey Keitel as Winston Laval, Tim Roth as Pumpkin Finger, Amanda Plumper as Honey Yolanda, Eric Stolze as Lance, Rosanna Arquette as Zodi. Fiction is an interconnected tapestry of crime stories set in Los Angeles, told through non-linear narrative. It revolves around various characters, gangsters, and walk through a couple of dramas and explore themes of violence, redemption, morality, and fate. The film is real-world sharp dialogue, memorable characters, and stylistic innovation. We talk about production notes. The film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It has made a modest budget of around 50 million. The film's innovative storytelling and style dialogue with a widespread acclaim and influenced the generation of filmmakers. Fifty White Lies on Travolta's career and cemented Tarantino's reputation as a visionary director. Drama and critics reception. One comedy or critic can film festival that is award for best original screenplay. Tarantino and Robert is nominated for 7 Oscars, including Best Director and Best Actor. Travolta universally acclaimed for its writing, direction, performance, and personal impact. Keep it over here. Impression Pulp Fiction is a groundbreaking film that redefined independent cinema and storytelling in the 1990s. Tarantino masterful blend of sharp dialogue, cynicism, and non-linear narrative creates an immersive and provocative experience. It's a film that combines anti-crime elements with dark humor and philosophical music, making it entertaining and thought-provoking. Strengthening the structure and memory time making experience engage PC together the straight life of puzzle. This approach allows for community resonance and carried development across different segments into dialogue and screenplay. Film's dialogue is iconic, which is sharp and modern, cultural influence. Tarantino's writing elevates mood and conversation to art, making scenes memorable. Without a performance, still cast delivers career defining performance and reactions, providing presence and monologue to the charismatic Sam and Thurman's cool detachment are particularly praised. If we talk about direction and style, Tarantino's signature style is through side violence, eclectic soundtrack, innovative camera work, and gritty yet polished aesthetic. Also, the where the filmmaker is right film elegant 25 by 70 special dialogue with film decades. If we talk about weakness and balance and the film's graphical balance and style story. Utility can be distributed for some decided into variable structure can be confusing, initially requiring attentive details can be seen as problematic. If we talk about audience as a perfection, chemicals of phenomenon garnering cult following and critical behavior. People cinephiles, fans of edgy students, those interested in subverting traditional narrative. Talk about critical ratings. Rotten Tomato 92% certified fresh and Metacritic 94 without audiences. Very high, many considering it one of the greatest film of all time. We talk about themes and cultural significance. First, we talk about morality and norms. Character grapples with moral choices often facing consequences of moments of redemption. If we talk about fate and coincidence, the non-linear narrative emphasizes themes of chance, luck, and the interconnectedness of lives. If we talk about violence and morality, the film explores the glamorization and consequences of violence, often juxtaposed with human and philosophical musing. If we talk about pop culture and music, the electric soundtrack and reference to movies and literature create a layered cultural tapestry. If we talk about postmodern style, perfection is not prize. Postmodern filmmaking, intellectual, self-aware, and genuine. If we talk about iconic scenes and chords, say what against Samuel Jackson's intense monologue, music dance sequence, and the royal with cheese conversation, the British story. There is a rivalry scene with Ronkin and Honeymoon, such as escape and confrontation with Achilles. If we talk about high-level perfection remains a landmark film that combines sharp dialogue, innovative storytelling, and unfolding impulse, influence on cinema is profound, inspiring countless filmmakers and becoming a symbol of early 90s. Beautiful movement, it's a must-watch for cinephiles and anyone interested in cinema that challenges convention and celebrates storytelling craftsmanship. If you talk about its rating, then it's a 5 out of 5 timeless classic that continues to captivate and influence. If we talk about its narrative structure, its style, no lineage to and not talking about Pulp and conventional sequence between jumps between different storylines and engagement or richness and really creating almost saying that in suspense and thematic depth. This structure invites viewers to piece together the development, fostering engagement and reflection on casual and coincidence, over dialogue and centric skills. Much of the film's power lies in its dialogue and writing. Rapture speed layer with complex references to physical scenes like the music is 25 by certain by some section have become iconic for their lyrical rhythm and intensity. The dog and stylistic service. The state of art soundtrack. Careful curated electric mix of soft rock, slow pop, and rock. Example: the scene son of a preacher and a girl who are the woman's sad to the girl drives smooth over to begin with camera angles, long takes, and meticulous framing. Create a gritty yet polished aesthetic. It was violence and good styles and often dark because the violence is higher through slow motion shots and dramatic into making brutal scenes more shocking and satiric. We talk about themes and philosophical underpinnings. First, we talk about morality and consequences. The character often operate in morally gray areas and decides yet unpredictable outcomes. The film explores how action, both tribal and gives emphasize themes of redemption and fate. We talk about fate and consequence, the story had a dimension and for example, which is double cross markers lead to a series of life altering events suggesting that life is a web of coincidence and choice. And we talk about redemption, People like but seek redemption through acts of bravery and choose transformation from a weak suffering to a moral peaceful one person is nothing just spiritual nature. And now if we talk about so Pulp Fiction 1994 main facts and review if we talk firstly if we talk about its main facts and its title is Pulp Fiction and released on October 14, 1994. Its director was Quentin Tarantino and it's a crime drama Black Friday movie. Its runtime was approximately 2 hours and 34 minutes. If you talk about its cast, then Travolta as Vincent Vega, Samuel L. Jackson as Jules Winfield and Uma Thurman as Mia Waller, Bruce Willis as Bugs Polidor and Wayne Raman as Marcellus Wallace, Harvey Keitel as Winston Laval, Tim Roth as Pumpkin Finger, Amanda Plumper as Honey Yolanda, Eric Stolza as Lance, Rosanna Arquette as Zodi. Fiction is an interconnected tapestry of crime stories set in Los Angeles, told through non-linear narrative which revolves around various characters, gangsters, walk through a couple of lovers and explore themes of violence, redemption, morality, and fate. The film is real-world sharp dialogue, movie characters, and stylistic innovation. We talk about production notes. The film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino and made a modest budget of around 50 million. The film's innovative storytelling and style dialogue is widespread acclaim and influenced the generation of filmmakers. Fifty White Lies on Travolta's career and cemented Tarantino's reputation as a visionary director. Drama and critics reception. One comedy or it can film festival that is before for best original screenplay Tarantino and Rabinov is nominated for 7 Oscars including Best Director and Best Actor Travolta universally acclaimed for its writing, direction, performance and cultural impact. Keep it over impression Pulp is a groundbreaking film that redefined independent cinema and storytelling in the 1990s. That is a masterful blend of sharp dialogue, thinking and non-linear narrative creates an immersive and provocative experience. It's a film that combines integral elements with dark humor and physical music, making it entertaining and thought-provoking. Strengthening the structure and moving time making serious engaged PC together the strength life of puzzle approach allows for thinking resonance and carry development across different segments of dialogue and screenplay. Film's dialogue is iconic with a sharp and modern cultural influence Tarantino and writing elevates mood and communication to art, making scenes memorable without a performance still past delivers carry defining performance and reactions, comedic presence, and monologue through culture, shooting Sam and Thermal's cool detachment are particularly praised. If we talk about direction and style, Tarantino's style science through side romance, eclectic soundtrack, inventive camera work, and gritty police aesthetic. Also the back before material right side of the alleyway 25 by 70 special dialogue with decades. If we talk about weakness and knowledge and the film's graphical balance and style story. Utility and weight distribute also design and identifying with structure can be confusing, initially requiring attentive details can be seen as problematic. If we talk about audience as a perfection in chemical phenomenon garnering occurred for a critical play later. People cinephiles fans of edgy students were interested in subverting traditional narrative. Global critical ratings written about 92% certified crash and Metacritic 94 video audiences. Very high, with many considering it one of the greatest film of all time. If we talk about themes and purpose, we begin. First, to talk about morality and rules. Character grapples with moral choices often facing consequences of moments of redemption. If we talk about fate and coincidence, the non-linear narrative emphasizes themes of chance, luck, and the interconnectedness of leaves. If we talk about violence and morality, the film explores the glamorization and consequences of violence, often juxtaposed with human and philosophical musing. If we talk about pop culture and music, the electric soundtrack and reference to movies and it is a create a layer of cultural tapestry from the post-modern style perfection is not price. Post-modern filmmaking intellectual, self-aware and genuine. If we talk about iconic scenes and chords, say what against Samuel Jackson's intense monologue, beyond music dance with Vincent, the royal with cheese conversation, the British story, the dinner robbery scene with Ronkin and Honeymoon, purchase escape and confrontation with Marquez. If we talk about high-level perfection remains a landmark film that combines sharp dialogue, innovative storytelling, and unfolding universe influence on cinemas, profound inspiring countless filmmakers and becoming a symbol of 1990s. Beautiful moment, it's a must watch firstly pass and anyone interested in cinema that challenges convention and celebrates storytelling culture. If you talk about its rating, then it's a 5 out of 5 timeless classic that continues to captivate and influence. If we talk about its narrative structure, its style, no lineage to continue or not talking about Pulp long controversy and jumps between different storylines and engagement or changes in really creating almost like that in suspense and thematic depth. This structure invites viewers to piece together the fostering engagement and reflection on casual and coincidence, over dialogue or centric skills. Much of the films lies in its dialogue and writing. Textual speed layer with pop culture references humor and political scenes like the music is 25 by certain by someone. Lecture have become iconic for their lyrical rhythm and intensity, dog and stylistic choice. The state of our soundtrack, careful curated electrically soft rock, slow pop, and rock example, the scene son of a preacher and a girl who are the woman's sad to water. The girl drives smooth over to begin with the camera angles, long takes, and meticulous framing. Create a gritty yet polished aesthetic, it was a violence and good. Styles and often dark because the violence is high and through slow motion shots and dramatic into making brutal scenes both shocking and satiric. We talk about themes and philosophical underpinnings. First, we talk about morality and consequences. The character often operate in morally gray areas and decides led to unpredictable outcomes. The film explores how action, both trivial and grave, safe emphasize themes of redemption and fate. If we talk about fate and consequence, the entrepreneur and story highlight randomness and for example, series double-cross markers lead to a series of life-altering events suggesting that life is a web of coincidence and choice. And if we talk about redemption and multiplayer, it will like but seek redemption through acts of bravery and choose confidence, transformation from a weak person into a moral principle, one person is nothing just spiritual nature. And now if we talk about so Pulp Fiction 1994 main facts and review if we talk firstly if we talk about its main facts and its title is Pulp Fiction and released on October 14, 1994. Its director was Quentin Tarantino and it's a crime drama Black Friday movie. Its runtime was approximately 2 hours and 34 minutes. If you talk about its cast, then Travolta as Vincent Vega, Samuel L. Jackson as George Winfield and Uma Thurman as Mia Waller, Bruce Willis as Max Polidorus and Wayne Raman as Marcellus Wallace, Harvey Keitel as Winston Laval, Tim Roth as Pumpkin Ringo, Amanda Plumper as Honey Yolanda, Eric Stolze as Lance, Rosanna Arquette as Zodi. Fiction is an interconnected tapestry of crime stories set in Los Angeles, told through non-linear narrative which revolves around various character-driven gangsters and walk through a couple of lovers and explore themes of violence, redemption, morality, and fear. The film is real-world sharp dialogue, memorable characters, and stylistic innovation. We talk about production notes. The film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It had made a modest budget of around 50 million. The film's innovative storytelling and style dialogue and widespread acclaim and influenced the generation of filmmaking. 50 White Lies on Travolta's career and cemented Tarantino's reputation as a visionary director. And critics' reception one found the orbit who can film festival at for award for best original screenplay. Tarantino and Robert is nominated for 7 Oscars including best director and best actor. Travolta universally acclaimed for its writing, direction, performance, and personal impact. Keep it over impression Pulp Fiction is a groundbreaking film that redefined independent cinema and storytelling in the 1990s. That is a masterful blend of sharp dialogue, strategy, and non-linear narrative creates an immersive and provocative experience. It's a film that combines integral elements with dark humor and physical music, making it entertaining and thought-provoking. Australian video structure the novel in time making serious and yet PC with a distinct life of puzzle. This approach allows for thinking resonance and carried element across different segments of dialogue and screenplay. Film's dialogue is iconic, which is sharp and modern with cultural influences. Tarantino and writing elevates mood and communication to art, making scenes memorable without the performance still vast delivers carry defining performance in elections, comedy presents, and monologue through culture, shooting sound and thumbnails. Cool attachment are particularly praised. If we talk about direction and style, Tarantino signature style science through style dominance, eclectic soundtrack, inventive camera work, and gritty yet polished aesthetic. Also the where the film right side of the elegant by sending special dialogue with decades. If we talk about weakness and critical knowledge and the film's graphical brutality can create extremely forms around the world. Designed and entirely not within structure can be confusing, initially requiring attentive details can be seen as problematic. If we talk about audiences as a perfection chemical phenomenon garnering a cult following and critical praise it people cinephiles, fans of edgy students, or those interested in subverting traditional narrative. Talk about critical ratings. Rotten Tomato 92% certified fresh and Metacritic 94 out of 100 without audience score. Very high, with many considering it one of the greatest film of all time. If we talk about themes and cultural significance, first to talk about morality and events. Character grapples with moral choices often facing consequences of arguments of redemption. If we talk about fate and coincidence, the non-linear narrative emphasizes themes of chance, luck, and the interconnectedness of lives. If we talk about violence and morality, the film explores the glamorization and consequences of violence, often juxtaposing human and philosophical musing without of culture and music. The electric soundtrack and reference to movies and literacy create a layered cultural tapestry from the post-modern style perfection exemplifies postmodern filmmaking intellectual self-aware and genuine. If we talk about iconic scenes and chords, say what against Samuel Jackson's intense monologue, young Mrs. Dance with Vincent, the royal with cheese conversation, the breakfast story, the dinner robbery scene with Ronkin and Honeymoon, Hutch's escape and confrontation with Marquez. If we talk about high-level perfection invention and marketing that combines sharp dialogue, innovative storytelling and unfolding influence on cinema is profound, inspiring countless filmmakers and encourages in the locality. Beautiful moment, it's a must-watch must pass, and anyone interested in cinema that challenges convention and celebrates storytelling craftsmanship. If you talk about its rating, then it's a 5 out of 5 timeless classic that continues to captivate and influence. If we talk about its narrative structure and style, no lineage to technical not talking about Pulp Fiction, not the revolution and the great jumps between different storylines and engagement or changes depending on already creating a mosaic that enhances suspense and thematic depth. This structure invites viewers to piece together the and foster engagement and reflection on casual and coincidence, over dialogue and centric scenes. Much of the film's power lies in its dialogue and writing. Actual speed layered with pop culture references to political scenes like the music is 25 by someone that have become iconic for their lyrical rhythm and intensity to document stylistic changes. The state of knowledge soundtrack, careful curated electric mix of soft rock, slow pop, and rock comedy. Example, the scene son of a preacher and a girl who are the moments says the tone and girl strives smooth to begin with camera angles, long takes, and meticulous framing. Create a gritty yet polished aesthetic with one violence and good styles and after dark because the violence is high and through slow motion shots and dramatic into making brutal scenes more shocking and satiric. If we talk about themes and philosophical underpinning, first we talk about morality and consequences. The character often operate in morally gray areas and decides led unpredictable outcomes. The film explores how action, both trivial and grave, lives on the same themes of redemption and fate. If we talk about fate and consequence, the past authors lead to a series of life-altering events suggesting that life is a web of coincidence and choice. And we talk about redemption like people like but seek redemption through lives of bravery, vengeance, conflict, transformation, from one person into a moral principle, one person's intelligence, spiritual nature. And now if we talk about so Pulp Fiction 1994 main facts and review if we talk firstly if we talk about its main facts and its title is Pulp Fiction and released on October 14, 1994. Its director was Quentin Tarantino and it's a crime drama black Friday movie. Its runtime was approximately 2 hours and 34 minutes. If you talk about its cast, then Travolta as Vincent Vega, Samuel L. Jackson as Jules Winfield and Uma Thurman as Mia Waller, Bruce Willis as Max Corridors and Wayne Raman as Marcellus Wallace, Harvey Keitel as Winston Laval, Tim Roth as Pumpkin Finger, Amanda Plumper as Honey Yolanda, Eric Stolza as Vance, Rosanna Arquette as Zodi. Fiction is an interconnected tapestry of crime stories set in Los Angeles, told through non-linear narrative which revolves around various character-driven gangsters and walk through a couple of dramas and explore themes of violence, redemption, morality, and fate. The film is renowned for its sharp dialogue, memorable characters, and stylistic innovation. We talk about production notes. The film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino and made an estimated of around 50 million. The film's innovative storytelling and style dialogue and widespread acclaim and influence the generation of filmmaking. Fifty White Lies on Travolta's career and cemented Tarantino's reputation as a visionary director. And critics reception 1 pound or 8 Cannes Film Festival 1984 Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. Tarantino and Robin is nominated for 7 Oscars including Best Director and Best Actor. Travolta universally acclaimed for its writing, direction, performance, and personal impact. Check it out. Impression Pulp is a groundbreaking film that redefined independent cinema and storytelling in the 1990s. The original masterful blend of sharp dialogue, strategy, and non-linear narrative creates an immersive and provocative experience. It's a film that combines integral elements with dark humor and philosophical music, making it entertaining and thought-provoking. Strategy with structure the novel in time making serious engaged PC with the distinct life of puzzle approach allows for limiting resonance and carried element across different segments, dialogue and screenplay. Dialogue is iconic with sharp and modern cultural references. Tarantino acting elevates mood and communication to art, making scenes memorable. Without the performance, still vast delivers carry a defining performance and reactions, comedic presence, and monologue role and charismatic charm and thoroughness. Cool detachment are particularly praised. If we talk about direction and style, Tarantino's signature style is style dominance, eclectic soundtrack, inventive camera work, and gritty yet polished aesthetic. Consider the back the film right film elegant from by studying special dialogue with people decades. We talk about weakness and critical knowledge and the film's graphical arrange and style story. usually requiring attentive details can be seen as problematic. If we talk about audiences as a perfection chemical phenomenon garden occurred for a critical play with appeal to cinephiles, fans of edgy students, or those interested in subverting traditional narrative. Global critical ratings written over 92% certified fresh and Metacritic 94 with our audiences very high, with many considering it one of the greatest film of our time. We talk about themes and cultural significance. First, we talk about morality and norms. Character grapples with moral choices, often facing consequences of followers of redemption. If we talk about fate and coincidence, the non-linear narrative emphasizes themes of chance, luck, and the interconnectedness of lives. If we talk about violence and morality, the film explores the glamorization and consequences of violence, often juxtaposed with human and philosophical musing. If we talk about pop culture and music, the electric soundtrack and reference to movies and literacy create a layered cultural tapestry. If we talk about post-modern style perfection exemplifies postmodern filmmaking intellectual, self-aware and genuine. If we talk about iconic scenes and plots, Seward against Samuel Jackson's intense monologue, Liam Neeson's dance with Vincent, the royal with cheese conversation, the red-faced story, the dinner robbery scene with Ronkin and Honeymoon, Hutch's escape and confrontation with Marquez. If we talk about Hyderabad perfection remains a landmark film that combines sharp dialogue, innovative storytelling, and unfolding universe influence on cinema is profound, inspiring countless filmmakers and becoming a symbol of 1980s. Beautiful moment, it's a must-watch for cinephiles and anyone interested in cinema that challenges convention and celebrates storytelling and craftsmanship. If you talk about its rating, then it's a 5 out of 5 timeless classic that continues to captivate and influence. If we talk about its narrative structure and style, no one is to continue about talking about Pulp Fiction, about the magic and the great jumps between different storylines and engagement or changes depending on really creating a mosaic that enhances suspense and thematic depth. This structure invites viewers to piece together the and foster engagement and reflection on casual and coincidence, drama, dialogue, and centric scenes. Much of the film's power lies in its dialogue and writing. Textual speed layered with complex references, humor, and political messaging. Scenes like the music is 25 by certain or by someone that can have become iconic for their lyrical rhythm and intensity to document stylistic change. The state of knowledge soundtrack. Careful curated electric mix of soft rock, slow pop, and rock comedy. Example: the CD, son of a preacher and a girl who argue rumors, says Travolta. The girl strives to within camera angles, long takes, and meticulous framing. Creative gritty yet polished aesthetic, it was violence and good. Styles and often dark because violence is high and through slow motion shots and dramatic into making brutal scenes both shocking and satiric. We talk about themes and philosophical underpinning. First, we talk about morality and consequences. The character often operate in morally gray areas and decides led to unpredictable outcomes. The film explores how action, both trivial and grave, lives emphasize themes of redemption and fate. We talk about fate and consequence, the mystery and randomness and for example, which is double cross Past authors lead to a series of life-altering events suggesting that life is a web of coincidence and choice. And we talk about redemption like people like but seek redemption through webs of bravery and choose transformation from a person into a moral principle one person is intelligence spiritual nature. And now if we talk about so Pulp Fiction 1994 main facts and review if we talk firstly if we talk about its main facts and its title is Pulp Fiction and released on October 14, 1994. Its director was Quentin Tarantino and it's a crime drama that by Devil. Its runtime was approximately 2 hours and 34 minutes. If you talk about its cast, then Travolta as Vincent Vega, Samuel L. Jackson as George Winfield and Uma Thurman as Mia Waller, Bruce Willis as Max Corridors and Wayne Raman as Marcellus Wallace, Harvey Keitel as Winston Laval, Tim Roth as Pumpkin Finger, Amanda Plumper as Honey Yolanda, Eric Stolza as Lance, Rosanna Arquette as Zodi. Fiction is an interconnected tapestry of crime stories set in Los Angeles, told through non-linear narrative. It revolves around various characters, gangsters, and walk through a couple of dramas and explore themes of violence, redemption, morality, and fear. The film is real-world sharp dialogue, memorable characters, and stylistic innovation. We talk about production notes. The film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It had made a modest budget of around 50 million. The film's innovative storytelling and style dialogue and widespread acclaim and influenced the generation of film. 50 White Lies on Travolta's career and cemented Tarantino's reputation as a visionary director. And critics' reception won Palm d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival and won an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. Tarantino and Robert is nominated for 7 Oscars, including Best Director and Best Actor. Travolta universally acclaimed for its writing, direction, performance, and cultural impact. Keep it over here. Impression Pulp Fiction is a groundbreaking film that redefined independent cinema and storytelling in the 1990s. The original masterful blend of sharp dialogue, stylism, and non-linear narrative creates an immersive and provocative experience. It's a film that combines integral elements of dark humor and philosophical music, making it entertaining and thought-provoking. Strength innovative structure the novel in time and curious in the PC to the restaurant life of puzzle supports allows for thinking resonance and carried element across different segments, dialogue and screenplay. Film's dialogue is iconic with sharp and modern cultural influences. Tarantino's acting elevates mood and communication to art, making scenes memorable. Without a performance, still fast, delivers career. Defining performance and reactions, comedy presence, and monologue through and charismatic charm and thoroughness. Cool detachment are particularly praised. If we talk about direction and style, Tarantino's style science through side projects, eclectic soundtrack, innovative camera work, and gritty yet polished aesthetic. Consider the bad before material right film evaluate 25 by 70 special dialogue with film decades. If we talk about weakness and critical balance and the film's graphical balance and style story. brutality can make extremely possible. Design and identifying within structure and confusing, initially requiring attempting items can be seen as problematic. If we talk about audiences as a perfection, chemicals, or phenomenon garden, cult following and critical creativity. People do cinephiles, fans of edgy students, loving literature, conservative, and traditional thinking. Talk about critical ratings. Rotten got a 92% certified fresh and Metacritic 94 without audiences. Very high, many considering it one of the greatest film of all time. If we talk about themes and cultural significance, first we talk about morality and norms. Character grapples with moral choices often facing consequences of harmonious or redemption. If we talk about fate and coincidence, the non-linear narrative emphasizes themes of chance, luck, and the interconnectedness of lives. We talk about violence and morality. The film explores the glamorization and consequences of violence, often juxtaposed with humor and philosophical musing. We talk about pop culture and music. The electric soundtrack and reference to movies and it is a create a layer of cultural tapestry. We talk about post-modern style perfection is not price. Post-modern filmmaking intellectual, self-aware and young. If we talk about iconic scenes and chords, say what against Samuel Jackson's intense monologue, Beyond dance with Vincent, the royal with cheese conversation, the red story, the dinner robbery scene with Ronkin and Honeymoon, Butcher's escape and confrontation with Marquez. If we talk about high-level perfection in visual and marketing that combine sharp dialogue, innovative storytelling and unfolding impulse, influence on cinema is profound, inspiring countless filmmakers and becoming a symbol of creativity. Beautiful moment, it's a must watch personally pass and anyone interested in cinema that challenges convention and celebrates storytelling and craftsmanship. If you talk about its rating, then it's a 5 out of 5 timeless classic that continues to captivate and influence. If you talk about its narrative structure and style, no one English to take when you are not talking about Pulp Fiction, the jumps between different storylines and engagement or richness with the linear or really creating almost saying that in suspense and thematic depth. This structure invites viewers to piece together the element of extreme engagement and reflection on casual and coincidence with over dialogue and centric scenes. Much of the film's power lies in its dialogue and writing. Capture speed layer with pop culture references humor and philosophical scenes like the music is 25 by certain or by someone section have become iconic for their lyrical rhythm and intensity to document stylistic choice. The state of knowledge soundtrack, careful curated electric mix of soft rock, slow pop, and rock comedy. Example: the scene son of a preacher and a girl who are really much says the girl drives smooth over to begin with camera angles, long takes, and meticulous framing. Creative gritty yet polished aesthetic, it was a violence and good styles and often dark because the violence is high and through slow motion shots and dramatic into making brutal scenes both shocking and satiric. If we talk about themes and philosophical underpinnings, firstly talk about morality and consequences. The character often operate in morally gray areas and decides led to unpredictable outcomes. The film explores how action both tribal and grave safe lives emphasize themes of redemption and freedom. To talk about fate and coincidence, the document mystery, hidden dimensions, and collision which mystery double cross markers lead to a series of life-altering events suggesting that life is a web of coincidence and choice. And we talk about redemption like people like but seek redemption through acts of bravery and choose transformation from a weak person into a moral peaceful one person is going through just spiritual nature. And now if we talk about so Pulp Fiction 1994 main facts and review if we talk firstly if we talk about its main facts and its title is Pulp Fiction and released on October 14, 1994. Its director was Quentin Tarantino and it's a crime drama that Friday movie. Its runtime was approximately 2 hours and 34 minutes. If you talk about its cast, then Travolta as Vincent Vega, Samuel L. Jackson as Jules Winfield, and Uma Thurman as Mia Waller, Bruce Willis as Bugs Corridors, and Wayne Raman as Marquis Wallace, Harvey Keitel as Winston Laval, Tim Roth as Pumpkin Finger, Amanda Plumper as Honey Yolanda, Eric Stolza as Lance, Rosanna Arquette as Zodi. Culture. Fiction is an interconnected tapestry of crime stories set in Los Angeles, told through non-linear narrative which revolves around various characters, gangsters, and walk through a couple of flowers and explore themes of violence, redemption, morality, and fate, the misery of world, sharp dialogue, memorable characters, and stylistic innovation. We talk about production notes. The film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It had made a modest budget of around 50 million. The film's innovative storytelling and style dialogue with a widespread acclaim and influenced the generation of filmmakers. 50 White Lies on Travolta's career and cemented Tarantino's reputation as a visionary director, drama and critics' reception. One comedy or it can film festival that in unbiased original screenplay Tarantino and Robert is nominated for 7 Oscars including Best Director and Best Actor Travolta universally acclaimed for its writing, direction, performance and cultural impact. Keep it over Impression Pulp Fiction is a groundbreaking film that redefined independent cinema and storytelling in the 1990s. The masterful blend of sharp dialogue, science-fiction and non-linear narrative creates an immersive and provocative experience. It's a film that combines integral elements with dark humor and physical music, making it entertaining and thought-provoking. Strength innovative structure and memory time making serious engaged PC together the straight life of puzzle approach allows for computing resonance and carried development across different segments, dialogue and screenplay. Film's dialogue is iconic, which is sharp and modern with cultural references. Tarantino's writing elevates mood and communication to art, making scenes memorable without a performance still vast delivers career. Defining performance in reactions, comedic presence, and monologue through the charismatic charm and Thurman's cool detachment are particularly praised. We talk about direction and style and music style through side projects, eclectic soundtrack, inventive camera work, and gritty yet polished aesthetic. Also doesn't back the film like film elegant 25 by 70 special dialogue with film decades. We talk about weakness and balance and reality can be distributed across around the world. Design reality highly multi-dimensional structure can be confusing, initially requiring attentive details can be seen as problematic. If we talk about audiences as a perception in chemicals of phenomenon garden, cult following and critical creativity. People do cinephiles, fans of edgy students, those interested in conservative and traditional narrative. Talk about critical ratings. Rotten Tomatoes 92% certified crash and Metacritic 94 without audiences. Very high, with many considering it one of the greatest film of all time. If we talk about themes and cultural significance, first we talk about morality and norms. Character grapples with moral choices often facing consequences of followers of redemption. If we talk about fate and coincidence, the non-linear narrative emphasizes themes of chance, luck, and the interconnectedness of lives. If we talk about violence and morality, the film explores the glamorization and consequences of violence, often juxtaposed with humor and philosophical musing. If we talk about pop culture and music, the electric soundtrack and reference to movies and it is a create a layer of cultural tapestry. If we talk about post-modern style, perfection is not wise. Post-modern filmmaking intellectual, self-aware and genuine. If we talk about iconic scenes and chords, say what against Samuel Jackson's intense monologue, young music dance reference, and the royal with cheese conversation moment peacefully. There is a robbery scene with Pumpkin and Honeymoon, purchase escape and confrontation with Achilles. If we talk about high-credit perfection invention and marketing that combines sharp dialogue, innovative storytelling that unfolds universe influence on cinema is profound, inspiring countless filmmakers and becoming a symbol of early 90s. Beautiful movement, its a must-watch classifies and anyone interested in cinema that challenges convention and celebrates storytelling craftsmanship. If you talk about its rating, then it's a 5 out of 5 timeless classic that continues to captivate and influence. If we talk about its narrative structure, its style, non-linear storytelling, and not talking Pulp and non-conventional narrative jumps between different storylines, instant engagement, or richness, intervening and already creating a mosaic that enhances suspense and thematic depth. This structure invites viewers to piece together the timeline and foster engagement and reflection on casual and coincidence, if over dialogue or centric scenes. Much of the film's power lies in its dialogue and writing. Actual speed layer with complex references to this scenes like the music is 25 by certain by someone section have become iconic for their lyrical rhythm and intensity to talk about stylistic songs. The state of art soundtrack. Careful curated electrically soft rock, slow pop and rock example the scene son of a preacher and girl you are the woman says the girl drives smooth and motivating camera angles, long takes and meticulous framing. Create a gritty yet polished aesthetic. It was a violence and good styles and often dark because the violence is high and through slow motion shots and dramatic into making brutal scenes more shocking and satiric. If we talk about themes and philosophical underpinning, first we talk about morality and consequences. The character often operate in more gray areas and decides yet unpredictable outcomes. The film explores how action, both tribal and grave safe lives emphasize themes of redemption and fate. If we talk about fate and consequence, the ultimate mystery, hidden randomness, and final collision which is double cross markers lead to a series of life-altering events suggesting that life is a web of coincidence and choice. And we talk about redemption like people like but seek redemption through acts of bravery and choose transformation from a weak person into a moral peaceful person is nothing just spiritual nature. And now if we talk about so Pulp Fiction 1994 main facts and review if we talk firstly if we talk about its main facts and its title is Pulp Fiction and released on October 14, 1994. Its director was Quentin Tarantino and it's a crime drama Black Friday movie. Its runtime was approximately 2 hours and 34 minutes. If you talk about its cast, then Travolta as Vincent Vega, Samuel L. Jackson as Jules Winfield and Uma Thurman as Mia Waller, Bruce Willis as Max Polidorus and Wayne Raman as Marquis Wallace, Harvey Keitel as Winston Laval, while Tim Roth as Pumpkin Kringle, Amanda Plumper as Honey Yolanda, Eric Stolza as Lance, Rosanna Arquette as Zodi. Story culture. Fiction is an interconnected tapestry of crime stories set in Los Angeles, told through non-linear narrative. It revolves around various characters, gangsters, and walk through a couple of lovers and explore themes of violence, redemption, morality, and fate. The film is real-world dialogue, monologue, characters, and stylistic innovation. We talk about production notes. The film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It has made a modest budget of around 50 million. The film's innovative storytelling and style dialogue has widespread acclaim and influenced the generation of filmmakers. Fifty White Lies on Travolta's career and cemented Tarantino's reputation as a visionary director. And critics' reception one found the or it can film festival that is nominated for Best Original Screenplay Tarantino and Rabbit is nominated for 7 Oscars including Best Actor Travolta universally acclaimed for its writing, direction, performance and cultural impact. Keep it over impression Pulp Fiction is a groundbreaking film that redefined independent cinema and storytelling in the 1990s. That is a masterful blend of sharp dialogue, theme and non-linear narrative creates an immersive and provocative experience with something that combines integral elements with dark humor and blissful music, making it entertaining and thought-provoking. Standing with the structure and moving time making serious engaged PC together the straight line of fiber supports allows for computing resonance and carry development across different segments with dialogue and screenplay. Film's dialogue is iconic with sharp and modern cultural influences Tarantino and writing elevates mood and communication to art making scenes memorable without a performance still past delivers carry a defining performance in rejections, comedy presents and monologue through culture shooting Sam and Thermals. Cool detachment are particularly praised. If we talk about direction and style and influences science through side romance, eclectic soundtrack, inventive camera work and gritty yet polished aesthetic. Also doesn't bear the film right film and elevate 25 by 70 special dialogue with decades. If we talk about weakness and knowledge and brutality can hate distribute across around the world. Design identify remotely structure can be confusing, initially requiring attentive items can be seen as problematic. If we talk about audience sense of perfection, chemicals or phenomenon garden, cult for and critical play later. People cinephiles, fans of edgy students, those interested in subverting traditional narrative. Global critical ratings written about 92% certified trash and Metacritic 94 video audiences. Very high, many considering it one of the greatest film of all time. If we talk about themes and cultural significance, first we talk about morality and norms. Character grapples with moral choices often facing consequences of moments of redemption. If we talk about fate and coincidence, the non-linear narrative emphasizes themes of chance, luck, and the interconnectedness of lives. If we talk about violence and morality, the film explores the glamorization and consequences of violence, often juxtaposed with human and philosophical musing. If we talk about pop culture and music, the electric soundtrack and reference to movies and literacy create a layered cultural tapestry. If we talk about post-modern style, perfection is not praise. Postmodern filmmaking intellectual, self-aware and genre. If we talk about iconic scenes and chords, say what against Samuel Jackson's intense monologue, young music dance sequence, and the royal with cheese conversation, the mid-pace story, telling the rivalry scene with Ronkin and Honeymoon, touches escape and confrontation with Marquez. If we talk about high-level perfection remains a landmark film that combines art dialogue, innovative storytelling, and unfolding impulse influence on cinema's performance, inspiring countless filmmakers and becoming a symbol of 1990s. Beautiful moment, it's a must-watch firstly pass and anyone interested in cinema that challenges convention and celebrates storytelling craftsmanship. If you talk about its rating, then it's a 5 out of 5 timeless classic that continues to captivate and influence. If we talk about its narrative structure, style, non-linear storytelling, and not talking about Pulp Fiction, conventional sequence, jumps between different storylines and engagement or changes in really creating atmospheric and suspense and thematic depth. This structure invites viewers to piece together the fostering engagement and reflection on casual and coincidence, over dialogue and centric skills. Much of the films lies in its dialogue and writing. That's where speed layer with pop culture references over physical scenes like the music is 25 by certain by someone. The film have become iconic for their lyrical rhythm and intensity, dog and stylistic choice. The state of art soundtrack, careful curated electric soft rock, slow pop, and rock example, the scene son of a preacher and girl who are the woman's said to the girl drives smooth over the making camera angles, long takes, and meticulous framing. Create a gritty yet polished aesthetic. It was a violence and good styles and often dark because the violence is high and through slow motion shots and dramatic into making brutal scenes more shocking and satiric. We talk about themes and philosophical underpinning. First, we talk about morality and consequences. The character often operate in more gray areas and decides led to unpredictable outcomes. The film explores how action, both tribal and grave safe lives emphasize themes of redemption and fate. We talk about fate and consequence, the ultimate Mystery, hidden dimensions, and polygon which double cross markers lead to a series of life-altering events suggesting that life is a web of coincidence and choice. And if we talk about redemption, like get to life but seek redemption through acts of bravery, actions, confidence, transformation, from weakness into a more influenceable one person is nothing just spiritual nature. And now if we talk about Pulp Fiction 1994 main facts and review if we talk firstly if we talk about its main facts and its title is Pulp Fiction and released on October 14, 1994. Its director was Quentin Tarantino and it's a crime drama Black Friday movie. Its runtime was approximately 2 hours and 34 minutes. If you talk about its cast, then Travolta as Vincent Vega, Samuel L. Jackson as Jules Winfield and Uma Thurman as Mia Waller, Bruce Willis as Max Polidor and Wayne Raman as Marcellus Wallace, Harvey Keitel as Winston Laval, Tim Roth as Pumpkin Ringo, Amanda Plumper as Honey Yolanda, Eric Stolze as Lance, Rosanna Arquette as Zodi. Pulp Fiction is an interconnected tapestry of crime stories set in Los Angeles, told through non-linear narrative which revolves around various characters, gangsters, and lovers, and explores themes of violence, redemption, morality, and fate. The film is rewarded sharp dialogue, memorable characters, and stylistic innovation. We talk about production notes. The film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino and had made a modest budget of around 50 million. The film's innovative storytelling and style dialogue is widespread acclaim and influenced the generation of filmmakers. Key white lies on Travolta's career and cemented Tarantino's reputation as a visionary director. Drama and critics reception. One found the or it can film festival identity for for best original screenplay. Tarantino and Rodriguez is nominated for 7 Oscars, including Best Director and Best Actor. Travolta universally acclaimed for its writing, direction, performance, and cultural impact. Keep it over impression Pulp Fiction is a groundbreaking film that redefined independent cinema and storytelling in the 1990s. The film was masterful blend of sharp dialogue, exciting and non-linear narrative creates an immersive and provocative experience. It's a film that combines integral elements with dark humor and philosophical music, making it entertaining and thought-provoking. Standing with the structure and moving time making fluid in the PC with the distinct type of puzzle approach allows for computing resonance and carried element across different segments of dialogue and screenplay. Film's dialogue is iconic with sharp and modern cultural influences. Tarantino writing elevates mood and communication to art, making scenes memorable. Without a performance, still past delivers career. Defining performance in elections, comedy presents, and monologue through culture, shooting Sam and Thermals. Cool detachment are particularly praised. If we talk about direction and style, and style science through style performance, eclectic soundtrack, inventive camera work, and gritty yet polished aesthetic. Also doesn't bear the film right film elegant by sending special dialogue with decades. We talk about weakness and critical knowledge and brutality can be distributed across the world. This identifying the structure can be confusing, initially requiring attentive details can be seen as problematic. If we talk about audiences as a perfection in chemical phenomenon garnering occurred for a critical play later. People to cinephiles, fans of edgy students, those interested in conservative and traditional narrative. Talk critical ratings. Rotten got a 92% certified crash and Metacritic 94 without audiences. Very high, with many considering it one of the greatest film of all time. If we talk about themes and cultural significance, first to talk about morality and events. Character grapples with moral choices often facing consequences of harmless or adoption. If we talk about fate and coincidence, the non-linear narrative emphasizes themes of chance, luck, and the interconnectedness of lives. If we talk about violence and morality, the film explores the glamorization and consequences of violence, often juxtaposed with human and philosophical musing. If we talk about culture and music, the electric soundtrack and reference to movies and it is a create a layer of cultural tapestry. If we talk about post-modern style perfection exemplifies postmodern filmmaking intellectual, self-aware and genuine. If we talk about iconic scenes and chords, say what against Samuel Jackson's intense monologue, young music dance sequence, and the royal with cheese conversation, the breakfast story, the dinner rivalry scene with Ronkin and Honeymoon, purchase escape and confrontation with Marquez. If we talk about high-level perfection remains a landmark film that combines sharp dialogue, innovative storytelling, and unfolding universe influence on cinema is profound, inspiring countless filmmakers and recognizing the localities. Beautiful moment, it's a must-watch first pass, and anyone interested in cinema that challenges convention and celebrates storytelling culture. If you talk about its rating, then it's a 5 out of 5 timeless classic that continues to captivate and influence. If you talk about its narrative structure and style, no one is to continue or not talking about Pulp Fiction, long conversation and the jumps between different storylines and engagement or which is really creating atmosphere that enhances suspense and thematic depth. This structure invites viewers to piece together the element, fostering engagement and reflection on casual and coincidence, over dialogue and centric skills. Much of the films lies in its dialogue and writing. Actual speed layer with pop culture references to political scenes like the music is 25 by some Captain have become iconic for their lyrical rhythm and intensity to document stylistic choice. The state of knowledge soundtrack. Careful curated electric mix of soft rock, slow pop, and rock. Example, the CD, son of a preacher and a girl who are the moments set to the girl strives more than to begin with the camera angles, long takes, and meticulous framing. Create a gritty yet polished aesthetic. It was violence and good styles and after dark because the violence is high and through slow motion shots and dramatic into making brutal scenes more shocking and satiric. If we talk about themes and philosophical underpinning, first we talk about morality and consequences. The character often operate in morally gray areas and decides led to unpredictable outcomes. The film explores how action, both tribal and great saviors emphasize themes of redemption and fate. If we talk about fate and consequence, the ultimate story highlight dimensions and polygon which is control double cross markers lead to a series of life-altering events suggesting that life is a web of coincidence and choice. And if we talk about redemption and multiplayer, it was like the secret redemption through depths of bravery and choice, transformation from a weak person into a moral principle, one person is nothing just spiritual nature. And now if we talk about Pulp Fiction 1994 main facts and review. If we talk firstly, if we talk about its main facts, and its title is Pulp Fiction and released on October 14, 1994. Its director was Quentin Tarantino and it's a crime drama that Friday movie. Its runtime was approximately 2 hours and 34 minutes. If we talk about its cast, then Travolta as Vincent Vega, Samuel L. Jackson as George Winfield and Uma Thurman as Mia Waller, Bruce Willis as Buzz Corridors and Wayne Raman as Marcellus Wallace, Harvey Keitel as Winston LaValle, Tim Roth as Pumpkin Ringo, Amanda Plumper as Honey Yolanda, Eric Stolza as Lance, Rosanna Arquette as Zodi. Fiction is an interconnected tapestry of crime stories set in Los Angeles, told through non-linear narrative between revolves around various characters, gangsters, and dramas, and explore themes of violence, redemption, morality, and faith. The film is real-world sharp dialogue, memorable characters, and stylistic innovation. We talk about production notes. The film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino and made a modest budget of around 50 million. The film's innovative storytelling and style dialogue has earned widespread acclaim and influenced the generation of filmmakers. 50 White Lies on Travolta's career and cemented Tarantino's reputation as a legendary director. And critics reception. One comedy or it can film festival that is for award for best original screenplay. Tarantino and Robert is nominated for 7 Oscars, including Best Director and Best Actor. Travolta universally acclaimed for its writing, direction, performance, and cultural impact. Check it out. Impression Pulp Fiction is a groundbreaking film that redefined independent cinema and storytelling in the 1990s. That is a masterful blend of sharp dialogue, strategy, and non-linear narrative creates an immersive and provocative experience. It's a film that combines integral elements with dark humor and philosophical music, making it entertaining and thought-provoking. Strengthening with structure and knowledge time making serious engaged PC with a distinct life of puzzle. This approach allows for thinking resonance and career development across different segments, dialogue and screenplay. Dialogue is iconic, which is sharp and modern, cultural influence, Tarantino and writing elevates mood and communication to art, making scenes memorable. Without the performance, still vast delivers carry defining performance and reactions, comedic presence, and monologue through the charismatic charm and Thurman's cool detachment are particularly praised. If we talk about direction and style, Tarantino signature style science through side romance, eclectic soundtrack, inventive camera work, and gritty yet polished aesthetic. Also, back the film right film elegant by Sunday special dialogue with decades. We talk about weakness and critical knowledge and initially requiring attending meetings can be seen as problematic. If we talk about audiences as a perfection in chemical phenomenon garnering occurred for a critical play later. If we do cinephiles, fans of edgy student, nothing interested in conservative and traditional narrative. About critical ratings, Rotten got a 92% certified crash and Metacritic 94 out of 100 with our audiences. Very high, with many considering it one of the greatest film of all time. If we talk about themes and cultural significance, first to talk about morality and events. Character grapples with moral choices often facing consequences of arguments or conduct. If we talk about fate and coincidence, the non-linear narrative emphasizes themes of chance, luck, and the interconnectedness of leaves. If we talk about violence and morality, the film explores the glamorization and consequences of violence, often juxtaposing human and philosophical musing. If we talk about pop culture and music, the electric soundtrack and reference to movies and literacy create a layered cultural tapestry. If we talk about post-modern style perfection exemplifies postmodern filmmaking intellectual self-aware and young. If we talk about iconic scenes and plots, save out against Samuel Jackson's intense monologue, young Mrs. Dance Vincent, the royal with cheese conversation, the red-faced story, the dinner robbery scene with Ronkin and Honeymoon, Butcher's escape and confrontation with Machiavelli's. If we talk about high-regarded perfection invention and marketing that combines sharp dialogue, innovative storytelling and unfold universe influence on cinema is profound, inspiring countless filmmakers and encourages cinema of early 90s. Beautiful moment, it's a must-watch personally pass and anyone interested in cinema that challenges convention and celebrates storytelling and craft culture. If you talk about its rating, then it's a 5 out of 5 timeless classic that continues to captivate and influence. If you talk about its narrative structure and style, no lineage to continual not talking about Pulp Fiction, not the strategy and the film jumps between different storylines and engagement or changes the linear already creating a mosaic that enhances suspense and thematic depth. This structure invites viewers to piece together the and foster engagement and reflection on casual and coincidence, over dialogue and centric scenes. Much of the film's power lies in its dialogue and writing. Factual speed layered with complex references, humor, and political mystery. Scenes like the music is 25 by certain by someone that can have become iconic for their lyrical rhythm and intensity to document stylistic choice. The state of knowledge soundtrack. Careful curated electric mix of surf rock, slow pop, and rock comedy. Example, the CD, son of a preacher and a girl who are the moments says to one girl styles smooth and within camera angles, long takes, and meticulous framing. Creative gritty yet polished aesthetic. It was violence and good styles and often dark because violence is high and through slow motion songs and dramatic into making brutal scenes more shocking and satiric. If we talk about themes and philosophical underpinning, first we talk about morality and consequences. The character often operate in morally gray areas and decides led to unpredictable outcomes. The film explores how action, both tribal and grave sake, lives on the same themes of redemption and fate. If we talk about fate and consequence, the mystery and random actions and holiday which is double because authors lead to a series of life-altering events suggesting that life is a web of coincidence and choice. And we talk about redemption like people like must seek redemption through webs of bravery and choose transformation from a weakness into a moral principle, one person is not thinking spiritual nature. And now if we talk about so Pulp Fiction 1994 main facts and review if we talk firstly if we talk about its main facts and its title is Pulp Fiction and released on October 14, 1994. Its director was Quentin Tarantino and it's a crime drama Black Friday movie. Its runtime was approximately 2 hours and 34 minutes. If you talk about its cast, then Travolta as Vincent Vega, Samuel L. Jackson as Jules Winfield and Uma Thurman as Mia Waller, Bruce Willis as Max Polidorus and Wayne Raman as Marcellus Wallace, Harvey Keitel as Winston Laval, Tim Roth as Pumpkin Finger, Amanda Plumper as Honey Yolanda, Eric Stolza as Lance, Rosanna Arquette as Zodi. Fiction is an interconnected tapestry of crime stories set in Los Angeles, told through non-linear narrative which revolves around various characters, interactions, walk through a couple of dramas and explore themes of violence, redemption, morality, and fear, such as misery or marriage, dialogue, memorable characters, and stylistic innovation. We talk about production notes. The film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It had made a modest budget of around 50 million. The film's innovative storytelling and style dialogue and widespread acclaim and influence exaggeration of filmmaking. Empty white lies on Travolta's career and cemented Tarantino's reputation as a visionary director. And critics' reception one found the or it can film estimated for a award for best original screenplay. Tarantino and Robert is nominated for 7 Oscars, including Best Director and Best Actor. Travolta universally acclaimed for its writing, direction, performance, and personal impact. If it over impression, Pulp Fiction is a groundbreaking film that redefined independent cinema and storytelling in the 1990s. The original masterful blend of sharp dialogue, thinking, and non-linear narrative creates an immersive and provocative experience. It's a film that combines integral elements with dark humor and philosophical music, making it entertaining and thought-provoking. Standing with the structure and moving time making serious engaged PC with the distinct life of puzzle approach allows for limiting resonance and carried element across different segments, dialogue and screenplay. Dialogue is iconic with sharp and modern cultural influence. Tarantino and acting elevates mood and communication to art, making scenes memorable. Without the performance, still vast delivers carry a defining performance and reactions, comedy presence, and monologue roles and charismatic charm and thoroughness. Coolly attachment are particularly praised. We talk about direction and style and signature style, high style performance, eclectic soundtrack, inventive camera work, and gritty yet polished aesthetic. Consider the back the film right side of the elegant by sending special dialogue with the decades. We talk about weakness and critical knowledge and the film's graphical arrange and style story. initially requiring attending details can be seen as problematic. If we talk about audiences as a perfection in chemical phenomenon garnering cult following and critical praise, appeal to cinephiles, fans of edgy students, or those interested in conservative and traditional narrative. Talk about critical ratings. Rotten Tomato 92% certified fresh and Metacritic 94 with our audiences very high, with many considering it one of the greatest film of all time. We talk about themes and cultural significance. First, we talk about morality and norms. Character grapples with moral choices often facing consequences of arguments of redemption. If we talk about fate and coincidence, the non-linear narrative emphasizes themes of chance, luck, and the interconnectedness of lives. If we talk about violence and morality, the film explores the glamorization and consequences of violence, often juxtaposed with human and philosophical musing. If we talk about pop culture and music, the electric soundtrack and reference to movies and literacy create a layered cultural tapestry. If we talk about post-modern style, perfection exemplifies postmodern filmmaking intellectual, self-aware and genuine. If we talk about iconic scenes and chords, say what against Samuel Jackson's intense monologue, young Mrs. Dance with Vincent, the royal with cheese conversation, the Bentley story, the dinner robbery scene with Ronkin and honeymoon, Butcher's escape and confrontation with Marquez. If we talk about hyperbolic perfection invention and marketing that combines sharp dialogue, innovative storytelling that unfolds universe influence on cinema is profound, inspiring countless filmmakers and encourages cinema of ideas. Beautiful moment, it's a must watch for cinephiles and anyone interested in cinema that challenges convention and celebrates storytelling and craft culture. If you talk about its rating, then it's a 5 out of 5 timeless classic that continues to captivate and influence. If we talk about its narrative structure and style, no one in this to when you are not talking about Pulp and non-conventional jumps between different storylines and engagement or richness with the nature of the creating a mosaic that enhances suspense and thematic depth. This structure invites viewers to piece together the development, fostering engagement and reflection on casual and coincidence, over dialogue and centric scenes. Much of the film's power lies in its dialogue and writing, textual speed layered with complex references to philosophical understanding. Scenes like the music is 25 by certain by Samuel Jackson have become iconic for their lyrical rhythm and intensity, to dogma stylistic songs. The state of modern soundtrack, careful curated electric mix of soft rock, slow pop, and rock example, the scene son of a preacher and a girl who are the women's says to the girl drives smooth over the wedding, camera angles, long takes, and meticulous framing. Creative gritty yet polished aesthetic, it was violence and good styles and often dark because violence is high and through slow motion shots and dramatic into making brutal scenes both shocking and satiric. We talk about themes and philosophical underpinnings. First, we talk about morality and consequences. The character often operate in morally gray areas and decides led to unpredictable outcomes. The film explores how action, both tribal and great sake, lives beside themes of redemption and fate. We talk about fate and consequence, the and story highlight randomness and for example, which in this film double across markers lead to a series of life-altering events suggesting that life is a web of coincidence and choice. And we talk about redemption in play. People like but seek redemption through webs of bravery and choose transformation from a new person into a moral principle, one person is going through transmission and check. And now if we talk about so Pulp Fiction 1994 main facts and review. If we talk firstly if we talk about its main facts and its title is Pulp Fiction and released on October 14, 1994. Its director was Quentin Tarantino and it's a crime drama that by its runtime was approximately 2 hours and 34 minutes. If you talk about its cast, then Travolta as Vincent Vega, Samuel L. Jackson as George Winfield, and Uma Thurman as Mia Waller, Bruce Willis as Max Polidor, and Wayne Raman as Marcellus Wallace, Harvey Keitel as Winston Laval, Tim Roth as Pumpkin Ring, Amanda Plumper as Honey Yolanda, Eric Scolza as Vance, Rosanna Arquette as Zodi. Fiction is an interconnected tapestry of crime stories set in Los Angeles, told through non-linear narrative revolves around various characters and walk through a couple of dramas and explore themes of violence, redemption, morality, and faith. The misery of words, sharp dialogue, memorable characters, and stylistic innovation. We talk about production notes. The film was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It was made modest budget of around 50 million. The film's innovative storytelling and style dialogue with a widespread acclaim and influenced the generation of filmmakers. Key white lights on Travolta's career and cemented Tarantino's reputation as a visionary director. And critics' reception. One found the author can film western that is unbiased original screenplay. Tarantino and Rabino is nominated for 7 Oscars, including Best Actor. Travolta universally acclaimed for its writing, direction, performance, and personal impact. Keep it over impression. Pulp Fiction is a groundbreaking film that redefined independent cinema and storytelling in the 1990s. That they were masterful, that of sharp dialogue, exciting and non-linear narrative creates an immersive and provocative experience. It's a film that combines integral elements dark humor and physical music, making it entertaining and thought-provoking. Standing with the structure and memory time making fluid in the PC together the street life of Palmer's approach allows for community resonance and carried element across different segments, dialogue and screenplay. Dialogue is iconic with sharp and modern cultural references, Tarantino and writing elevates daily communication to art, making scenes memorable. still fast, delivers carrier, defining performance and reactions, providing presence, and another true culture is putting and surveillance. Full detachment are particularly praised. With our direction and stylus and synthesis as side audience. Eclectic soundtrack, innovative camera work, and brilliant police aesthetic. Absolutely bad before right film. Elegant by sending special dialogue with decades. Initially requiring time can be seen as problematic. If it were audience as a perfection chemical phenomenon garnering occurred for a critical play later. If it do cinephiles and some edgy students have been interested in subverting traditional narrative. Genre critical ratings written over 92% certified fresh and metacritic 94 without audiences. Very high, many considering it one of the greatest film of all time. We talk about themes and purpose began. First, we talk about morality and events. Character develops with moral child after facing consequences of arguments or conduct. We talk about fate and coincidence. The non-linear narrative emphasizes themes of chance, luck, and the interconnectedness of beliefs. We talk about violence and morality. The film explores the glamorization and consequences of violence, often juxtaposed with human and philosophical musing without culture and music. The electric soundtrack and reference to movies and literacy create a layered cultural tapestry of the post-modern style perfection in the eyes. Post-modern filmmaking intellectuals self-aware and well-informed. If we talk about iconic scenes and chords, see what again Samuel Jackson's dance monologue, beyond music dance sequence, and the royal chief conversation of the story. The dinner robbery scene with Ronkin and Honey, purchase escape and confrontation with Achilles. If we talk about Hyderabad perfection in mental and marketing that combines sharp dialogue, innovative storytelling, and unfolding universe influence on cinema's profound, inspiring countless filmmakers and becoming a symbol of 1980s. Beautiful moment, it's a must-watch for cinephiles and anyone interested in cinema that challenges convention and celebrates storytelling culture. If you talk about its rating, then it's a 5 out of 5 timeless classic that continues to captivate and influence. If we talk about its narrative structure and style, no lineage to significant suspense and thematic depth. This structure invites viewers to piece together the novel and foster engagement and reflection on casual and coincidence, over dialogue, and centered scenes. Most of the films lies in its dialogue and writing. Transfer speed and complex references to listeners. Scenes like the music is done by certain that can become iconic for their lyrical rhythm and intensity, the dog stylistic the state of knowledge. Careful curated electric mix of soft rock, slow pop, and rock. Example, the scene son of a preacher and a girl who are the almost said will drive smooth and immediate camera angles, long takes, and vertical streaming. Creative gritty yet polished aesthetic, capable violence and good styles, and after the violence is high and through slow motion songs and dramatic also making brutal scenes more shocking and satiric. We talk about themes and philosophical underpinning. First, we talk about morality and consequences. The character often operate in more gray areas and decides lead to unpredictable outcomes. The film explore how action, both tribal and great gives emphasize themes of redemption and we talk about fate and consequence. The mystery and randomness and freedom which in this film double cross markers lead to a series of life-altering events suggesting that life is a web of coincidence and choice. And we talk about redemption, like people life but seek redemption through acts of bravery and choose transformation from a new person into a moral, philosophical, known person